G'day guys and gal! It's no secret that people are stupid. We make stupid decisions, embarrass ourselves, and try way too hard quite often. The setting of Warhammer 40k is no different. After all, people write all the stories. We all know the word Grimdark. It's basically nailed into our brains so hard that we start to look like a world eater. There is no denying 40k is a Grimdark setting. From the demonic hordes that ravage the innocent, to the space bugs of death that also ravage the innocent. Shit like the Emperor needing thousands of psychists to sacrifice themselves daily to keep the Imperium running, or the fact that the Inquisition has blown up human worlds purely to deny the Tyranids biomass are good examples of grim darkness that show off the ruthlessness and themes of 40k. But sometimes, writers take it too far. Sometimes they make up wildly retarded lore that makes no practical sense, purely to tick the oh yeah mate, that's pretty dark checkbox. This has resulted in the 40k fandom scratching their heads at some of the sillier grimdark moments that are now aptly called Grimderp. Some time ago, I made a video outlining the top 10 dumbest moments in 40k lore, so I do understand if at a glance this just looks like a rehash. However, that video was just dumb moments which didn't have to be Grimderp, so this top 5 will be very different. But first, guys and gal, the Majorkill minis. Some have boobs, some have big ass claws, and some can slice your ass in half. All of them are stocked up and ready for sale worldwide. The kicker, all prices are in Australian, which means everyone is pretty much getting a 25 to 40% discount, unless you live in Venezuela. I also want to remind you guys that in 2 weeks, the Majorkill mini painting competition comes to a close. So if you've painted your mini or you have it ready to go, get it sorted and send a photo over to my email, Twitter or Discord. Winner gets $500 actual dollars. Today we'll go over 5 Grimderp things in the setting of 40k. These things will be broad and will consist of multiple moments in the lore to show why they are Grimderp. Many of these things have since been retconned because even GW realized how stupid it made them look, but we ain't cutting them any slack. Let's get into it. The first Grimderp thing on this list is how some chapters go about their Space Marine recruitment. Although grueling trials to weed out the weak does make a lot of sense and results in only the best of the best becoming an Astartes, some of these trials are just plain fucking retarded. For the Blood Angels, they literally get put into a sarcophagus full of blood for a year as they transform from cancer-ridden hobos to beautiful Aryan vampires we all know and love. Some aspirants wake up early and have to endure months of darkness and solitude within their sarcophaguses. By the time they finally get out, they are generally insane by that point. To me, this is just a bit too tryhard with the whole vampire thing they got going on. On top of that, if an aspirant wakes up early, just fucking put them back to sleep. Why waste precious gene seed and time on someone who's gonna lose their marbles? The Grey Knight trials are just plain silly. There are so many of them that it's next to impossible to actually succeed, hence why there is fuck all Grey Knights running around. The problem with that is that the Grey Knight aspirants are extremely rare. Whilst pretty much all the other chapters could recruit nearly anyone into their ranks, Grey Knight aspirants have to be psychers and have 1 in a billion genetics. Any who fail the Grey Knight trials are killed. Considering only like 1 in 10,000 pass the trials, and that's a lowball estimate, I've seen people say 1 in a million, that's a lot of fucking dead people. People that would have been great sanctioned psychers, you know, the type of people who could have been great inquisitors. Don't get me wrong, Grey Knights are strong, but I feel like the galaxy would benefit from more Grey Knights rather than just a handful of pretentious ones. The Iron Hands trials are also pretty shitty. If you fail them, you become a servitor. I'm all for it being hard to be a Space Marine, but look at the Ultramarines. Their aspirants are volunteers for the process, they're allowed to keep their memories as well as connections to loved ones, and if they fail, they don't get absolutely massacred. And guess what? The Ultramarines maintain high numbers and excellent standard of soldiers, proving that being able to endure 7 spiked metal rods in your ass at the same time is a silly way to determine if someone is fit to be an Astartes. The next Grimderp topic is the silliness around certain Imperial weapons. Did you know that many crews of Baneblades are mentally incapable of being away from their tanks? Yeah, it's got some shit to do with the fact that being in a Baneblade is so hectic and loud and shit that they are unable to cope with the silence of real life. Like they go fucking crazy if they aren't in their big ass tanks. I don't even need to begin to explain why this is Grimderp, but that's my job so I will anyway. Firstly, if you are so adjusted to noise and commotion that you lose your mind if it goes quiet, how the fuck do you sleep? On top of that, there is no trainable mechanism in the human brain that would make you crave constant noise and vibration. Like, I've hit up some fat multiple day festivals getting fucking blasted by Function 1 speakers while getting bumped around by thousands of half-naked people pinging out of their brain, and I'ma tell you that peace and quiet is definitely welcome at the end of the night. It gets sillier though. There's some obscure lore that says guardsmen who witnessed the firing of a Shadow Sword volcano cannon, which is that fuck off big tank that can one-shot titans, are sometimes executed for heresy. This is because the Shadow Sword seems to use condensed psychic energy to help give it that extra oomph, so to witness one fire it is like witnessing the warp. It's very dumb, it's very impractical, and it is very Grimderp. Like what, the commissar has to be like, alright men, earplugs in, eye masks on, fire the volcano cannon! I mean, you may as well just drop a nuke on the battlefield to take down the enemy titan if you're gonna have to execute your entire army if you want to shoot it. The third Grimderpness on this list is Imperial warships. When you look at a subreddit discussion about Grimderp, without fail, it will always talk about how Grimderp it is that pretty much all functions in a warship, most notably the loading and firing of big ass fucking missiles, is done by human slaves, manually, instead of, basic machinery. This is dumb, as not only does the technology exist to allow for automatic machine reloading of weapons the size of skyscrapers, like the Mechanicus literally uses those machines, but the use of humans would be slower, more prone to errors, and way more expensive. There is absolutely no reason to use slaves beyond the rider feeling the need to jerk themselves off with sandpaper while railing shards of glass. But that's not all. Imperial ships get way derpier than that. You know Geller fields? Those force fields that trillions of people use to prevent themselves from receiving the demonic D whenever they want to travel faster than light? A technology that has been present since before psychers were a thing? Yeah, that was recently retconned to go from a special Dark Age of technology machine to instead become a comatose psyker that sleeps in the bow of each and every ship. Like, what? ADB came out and said they always thought that the Geller fields were psyker dreams, but never talked about it in the lore till recently. But that's dumb, because humanity used Geller fields during the Dark Age of technology to travel around, but they had no psychers. If GW had instead said, with the progressive loss of important ancient technology, including the STC to create complete Geller fields, the Imperium had to resort to comatosing its best and brightest psychers to fulfill the role of their ancient failing machines. Then it's like, sure, but to just go against established lore because you want to plop in some random grim darkness, tee is ridiculous and very Grimderp. On to the next bit of spurginess, we have the activities of the Inquisition. Don't get me wrong, I'm actually a fan of the Inquisition and I see their existence as necessary. They can be incredibly well written, like in the Eisenhorn books. However, occasionally they are the cringiest fuckwits you'll ever hear about, and they make some of the derpiest decisions. Shit like the Months of Shame were ridiculous. Like, I kinda understand that they wanted to purge Armageddon due to being near Angron for a bit, but to exterminate various established and flourishing Imperial worlds because a refugee ship from Armageddon stopped there to refuel is beyond fucking stupid. Not to mention attempting to genocide the Space Wolves. Judging by how different characters reacted to the Months of Shame, it's almost like GW knew how stupid it all was, but decided to go for it anyways. The Inquisition gets derpier though. They once knowingly released gene stealers onto a human world in order to study them and try capture one. Look, I like the Alien movies just as much as the next guy, but sometimes you don't have to pay fucking homage to every other setting. To absolutely nobody's surprise, the world had to be exterminatus. It seems like there is two ways to write about the Inquisition. Either you sniff glue for half an hour and then portray them as these literal gods who can do whatever they want with zero consequences, or you can write them as a powerful yet grounded organization with complex politics and genuinely believable structure. Having the authority to doom billions of lives and cost trillions upon trillions of resources because you wanted to try recreate the Alien movies is stupid. No, it's beyond stupid. It's Grimderp. Even good Inquisitors sometimes get written like idiots for the sake of writers trying to be edgy. At the end of the Siege of Rax, the Sisters of Battle stationed on the planet were found. They had been tortured, broken, and were basically insane, yet they remained uncorrupted. Instead of rescuing them or helping them, Lord Hector Rex, the hero of Rax, either sent them off to prisons or executed them. What the fuck? The final and derpiest mention on this list is the Grey Knights, because the Inquisition are so fucked that they need to take up 2 slots. The derpiness of the Grey Knights stems from the fact that they are supposed to be so fucking perfect. As I said, for the creation of one Grey Knight, thousands of extremely bright people had to die. So when they do dumb Grimderp shit, it hits a lot harder. A lot of the months of shame was due to the Grey Knights being too pussy whipped by the Inquisition to put a stop to the madness, but that is only the beginning. I'm sure many of you have heard about the now retconned incident of the Grey Knights' encounter with some Sisters of Battle. Basically, a world was getting cucked by demons. However, the Sisters of Battle on it were able to resist the demonic taint. When the Grey Knights arrived, they played a game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Did they A. Back up the Sisters and purge the demons with them? B. Evacuate the Sisters and praise them for their fortitude? C. Disarm the Sisters and take them into custody so they could be evaluated for taint? Or D. Massacre the Sisters and then bathe in their blood? That's right, option D. The Grey Knights murdered these hyper-loyal sisters and rubbed their entrails all over their armor as some kind of demonic ward. But like, Grey Knights are already warded from demons, they're fucking Grey Knights. How does the entrails of the innocent help? If anything, that would hinder. Even though this has been retconned, the Grey Boys still do silly shit. Every Grey Knight bullet is blessed. Okay, yeah, seems normal, until you realize that the blessing of each bullet requires the sacrifice of a righteous man. What the fuck? At least all these failed Grey Knight applicants aren't going to waste, I suppose. By having each bullet requiring the death of an innocent, that means it's almost impossible for a Grey Knight to kill more demons than it does loyal humans. Nice. There's also a weird bit of lore that says any Imperial citizen without enough clearance cannot witness a Grey Knight or demons. If they do so, they are to be executed or sterilized. Not only has this been contradicted in the lore, like there's a common Imperial children's song that talks about safeguarding against the horrors of the warp, but it's also just stupid. There is no reason why Grey Knights should be wildly secret from the Imperium. Chaos already knows about Grey Knights, so does the Elder and other Xenos. A normal Imperial world would see a Grey Knight and just assume it's another Space Marine. What makes this properly Grimderp, however, is just how inconsistent it is. Watchers of the Throne had Grey Knights fighting out in the open on Terra. Siege of Vrax had Grey Knights leading the charge. It's clear that this rule was just another Grimderp moment, spawned from one or two writers trying way too hard. I do love reading about Grimderp moments, purely just to remind myself that anyone can make an absolute ass of themselves. If you have any other Grimderp moments you remember, chuck them down in the comments below. I want to read that shit. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. We're only $1 per month to give you access to a boatload of Battle Mace 40 million hentai. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more Grimderp content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.